Yeah, see, when people are when people get into our lane and kind of drive over our lane, I don't like it, so I generally just play chicken with the SUVs and holding my horn. I hope they get angry or like stop or turn around, and then I get my customers to beat the crap out of them. That's pretty much how it goes. So yeah, M13, I'm leading another, I got a tour, it's a full tour, sold out. This is for my Patreon. There's something happened this tour. I had a guest who'd never ridden before, and it's not uncommon. It's actually very common. On average, I have one person every tour with zero riding experience. So I have a bunch of, like, I usually have 6 or 7 people who have ridden before, and then one person who's never ridden in their life. And from experience, it hasn't been a problem. Like, it only takes, honestly, it only takes an hour or 2 to learn how to ride. That's it. So we spent a couple hours, you know, to get good takes longer, but as I've said in another video, sometimes the experienced riders have been riding for years, have bad habits. They're actually bad riders. So there's someone who's never ridden before in 2 days' time can be a better rider than some of the people that have been riding for years that show for my tour. So it's, yeah. So this tour we had a guy who showed up, and he's never ridden before, and I'm like, okay, but I tell people who've never ridden before, I give them a list of things they can do to increase their safety, because it still is dangerous, of course. So I tell them, like, okay, well, you should rent a scooter for a day in your home country. What's that? You can't do that? Okay, well, find an electric scooter, like an electric scooter where you don't need a motorcycle license for it. Some kind of electric mobility vehicle with 2 wheels that only has a top speed of 30 kilometers an hour. Just some electric cheap piece of shit. Borrow it for a fucking day. Find a place that sells them and ask to test ride one and take it out in the parking lot and ride around. Anything you can do to get yourself some experience before you get out here in a foreign country jet lagged will help you. What's that? You can't find a scooter and you can't find an electric scooter? Okay, here's an idea. Get a fucking bicycle and ride around in a parking lot on a bicycle for a couple of hours. Because the mechanics of counter steering and cornering on a bicycle is pretty much the same. It is the same as on a scooter. So it will help. Get the fuck over, man. So, yeah, you know, and then I give them a book. I actually send them a digital book, and I'm like, here, read this book on how to ride. Do you know how many of the new riders, the people with no riding experience, have read the book that I've sent them? I think one guy did, and he read it like 2-3 times. He like, yeah, I read it, I memorized the whole thing. Yeah, I'm good. I took all your advice, and he did. That guy did everything I said he should do. He went out and did it. But he's the only guy to do it. Out of maybe a dozen people who have done my tours with zero riding experience, only one of them actually read the book on how to ride a motorcycle. 1 out of a dozen. And the rest just show up, oh no, I didn't have time. No, I tried to read it. It was boring. Couldn't get it. It's literally an instruction manual on how to ride a scooter, which is what you're going to be doing, and you don't want to read it. You just want... The stupidity of these people is just... fuck, people are dumb. It's just... I've said it before. Yeah, so we had a guy in this tour. He said he read some of the book, and he watched... There's a video format of the book, you know, Twist of the Wrist. He said he watched the video. I don't like the video as much. The video, it talks about too much irrelevant shit, and like the book, I like the book better. Yeah, but he didn't rent a scooter, he didn't rent an electric, and he didn't even ride a bicycle. And I was like, dude, it's like... Oh, and there's another problem too. If you're a new rider and you're doing my tour, show up a couple of days early. Why? Because you need to get over fucking jet lag. Jet lag is a real fucking thing. It's not a made-up fucking word for a fictitious condition. It's a real fucking thing. When you arrive in a country that's on the opposite side of the planet in an entirely different time zone, you are like ill. You're physically ill. It's like having the flu. You got a headache. You're fucking tired. You're exhausted. You can't think straight. So it's pretty much the absolute worst possible. You're in the absolute worst possible condition to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So yeah, so this guy for this tour, he didn't practice. He showed up last minute. I think he's the only person on the tour to show up last minute to do it. So everyone else is pretty much or at least getting over their jet lag, and he shows up, just gets off the plane, totally delirious and tired. And the first thing I do is throw him onto a motorcycle and say, "Here, learn to ride." And it's like, but I had no option, and I had these discussions with him before he even got to the country. I'm like, dude, you need to do this. You need to start, sleeping during the day and staying awake all night in Canada just to get over your jet lag before you get here, so you'll be on the right sleeping pattern. And you need to ride a bicycle. You need to, and he didn't do any of the things I said. So yeah, he showed up. I took him. He rode okay at first, and I was like, oh, okay. Because some people, like, just right off the bat have difficulty, like just riding in a straight line. I've seen that multiple times. Just straight line, they're like shaking the handlebars. But he didn't. He was okay. And then we got to the practice park where and we're going right here. We got to the practice park where I get my people to ride around on a walking pass, and it's a very good place to practice because it's a very narrow and windy path, so you learn control. And if you do go off the path and crash, there's grass on the side, so. The lady was putting a dead rat on the ground, if you didn't see that. So, my GPS is telling me to go somewhere we've already been. Let's turn that off. I don't need it. So yeah, he was riding in the park, and he hold on, sorry. Stop. We'll wait for these cars to go by because they're going quicker than we are. Oh, okay, I thought they're going quicker than we are, and then this guy cuts in front of us and then does 2 kilometers an hour. That's alright. Yeah, that's good. The guy behind me swerving around, which is actually good. I tell people to do that. It's another advice I give people. I'm like, anytime you're on a new vehicle, you shouldn't be going straight. Again, if you're on a straight road, you shouldn't be going straight on the straight road. You should be winding. Because anytime you're going straight, you're learning nothing. And anytime you're like swerving just a little back, just nice light swerves back and forth, you're learning something. You're learning control. Because to take a motorcycle, you can take your hands off. You can take your hands off and do straight. You don't learn anything. Straight is the equivalent to sitting in a chair and doing nothing. Like literally, because I could put both my hands on my lap and continue on straight. So I'm not learning any muscle memories or control over the bike. But just by weaving back and forth like this, just a little bit of weaving, every second I'm doing that, my control over the motorcycle is increasing. Like my skill is increasing. Because it's all about muscle memory, and for muscle memory, you need to do something a lot. So yeah, so the guy we took him to the practice park, and he was riding around the pass, and he crashed, which is really, he had about a 40% chance of crashing there, I'd say, because it's his first time on a scooter. He's like all the conditions were against him, so the chance of him dropping it were really quite high. But it was the safest place for him to drop it, and it's better to drop it there than to, like, smash into a car on the road or something. So I took him, yeah, so But the problem is not that he crashed, because it's really not that big a deal. It's normal. Everybody who starts to ride is going to at least drop their bike once. He didn't crash. He dropped. He wiped out on a corner or whatever. He said he was going off the path, like onto the grass, and he was like, oh shit, and then he like turned hard, and I think he braked at the same time, and you can't turn and brake at the same time, so he fell over. And that's fine. You know, nobody thought less of him. It was to be expected. But the problem comes with the fact that once you do crash, your confidence is gone. You know, like, and then your nerves are up, and he actually got a little bit hurt. Like he scraped his knee, and I think he twisted his ankle a little bit or something, just a little. It wasn't sprained, but his ankle was sore, and he had a cut on his knee. So that just, you're like, ugh. And then you think and then we're going to be doing mountain roads like this, where if you go off, you like go down a cliff. Been there, done that. So yeah, so his confidence was shot, and and yesterday he says, yeah, I might just quit. And it's like, dude, you just flew to the opposite side of the planet, paid a dude, paid me the $1,600 US, and then you're saying you're gonna quit after 1 hour into the tour. You know, and if he had just taken the time to, you know, and he booked the tour months ago. Everyone books a tour like months in advance. So he could have done, he could have signed it. He could have signed up for a rider's training course in his home country and used borrowed motorcycles and learned in a parking lot and had instructors, you know. But there are some people who just don't have a natural ability for something. You know, no matter how much I tried to play basketball when I was younger, I could never get the hang of dribbling and walking, and well, maybe I just didn't practice enough. But nonetheless, some people pick it up real easily, you know, and that's not me. Yeah, I think I would have to practice for a very, very long time to get good at basketball, while other people would just need to practice for a very short time. And it's the same thing with motorcycles. Some people get on a motorcycle and 3 hours later they're flying along at double, triple the speed limit. And some people, you know, try riding a motorcycle for a full day and never really get the hang of it. So yeah, so he quit. He decided the best thing for him. I kept pushing him to stay. I kept telling him, you should stay, you should do it, give it, you know. But yesterday he wanted to quit. Today he gave it another chance. We went back to the practice park, and he didn't crash, but he was having a lot of difficulty, and he said that his nervousness and his stress was just really, really high, and he just wanted to quit. So I encouraged him to continue, but I'm not going to push too hard, because if I push too hard, I'm like, no man, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. I can't say it'll be fine, because I don't know it'll be fine. You know, there's always a chance that something could happen. So if I pushed him too hard to continue the tour, and then, you know, 2-3 days later he breaks his leg, I'd feel bad. So once he says, yeah, I'm sure I'm quitting, I'm like, okay. So I'm giving him back more than 50% of what he paid me, and so the tour is like $1,600, so he's getting more than $800 back, and he can use that money to travel the island. And realistically, it's if he does bed and breakfasts, if he just lives a little bit frugally, just a little bit, like instead of nice hotels like we do 5-star hotels, he can do like bed and breakfasts and just, you know, and eating local stuff. Local stuff is really cheap. So yeah, he'll be able to tour the whole island on his own. And because he'll be touring the island by train, like for example, tomorrow we're gonna ride 10 hours on these scooters to get to our hotel. He could, from the same starting position, he could get to the hotel in 3 hours. So we're going to be traveling for 10 tomorrow. If he wants to go to the same city that we'll be at, he'll only need to travel for 3. And I think he might do that. And then he'll like re-hook up with us at the next city. But I'm going to give him his money back, so that means once he's going to have to pay for his own shit at each city. I could kind of just like, I don't know. There's other options, like I could keep his money and then let him do the tour, but then it would but on train. But then there's some cities that we go to that there actually is no trains that go to them, and it's too complicated. So I need to do a clean cut. Just give him give him a refund on what I will refund, and tell him to like take care of himself. I'm going to give him a schedule of what cities we'll be in. If we see him there, cool. If not, that's okay. Yeah. The good news is that he was a very nervous and a new rider. So and everyone else in this group is experienced riders. So the fact that he's gone is actually it's better for the rest of the group. Like the other guys are like, okay, now we don't have to worry about him, and now we can pick up the pace, and yeah, it's just it's one less stress. But it's a stress that I don't mind, because I'm always very proud of my non-riders that do my tour, because I've had at least I don't know, at least a dozen people do my tour who have never ridden in their lives, and all of them except for one like finished the tour no problem. And not only did they finish the tour, but by the end of the tour they were like skilled and quick and safe. Yeah, so I kind of like it when someone shows up and they're like, I've never ridden before, and I'm like, wow, you're brave to do this. And then I teach them, and then a few days later they're a very skilled rider. I'm gonna let somebody else take the lead. Hold on a second. There, you take the lead. I'm gonna record you guys from behind.
This is beautiful, man.
Yeah, just do this speed.
Okay.
In the past, whenever I tell somebody else to take the lead, they fucking gun it, and it's idiotic beyond belief. And then I can't even catch back up to get to the back of the front. Just continue on at a sightseeing pace. Okay, you guys go. Go. Dead bird. That's a good omen. I love those good omens. It's actually, I don't know, it's not a bad omen. I don't mind it. I've had a lot of times, oddly enough, when I begin a big tour, I see like a dead dog on the road or a dead cat. Like, it's happened multiple. I don't know why. Or maybe I just see them all the time, but I only really notice it on the beginning of a tour because I consider it to be like, oh no, it's an omen. Something bad's gonna happen this tour. But I've seen it at the beginning of so many tours where I see like a bad omen, and those tours have always went fine, so I don't worry about it anymore. I'm a superstitious guy. I don't know why. I haven't always been that way, but yeah. So this is what the view from the back, a view I rarely ever see. I always say the best position in a group ride, people always want to ride at the front because they think it's cool because they're at the front. I guess if you're at the front, everyone looks at you. So if you've got a small dick, that's where you want to be. You want to be at the very front so everyone can look, everyone's staring at you, everyone's looking at you, you get to show off. He's checking out that view. Here, you guys can see it better. There you guys go. So yeah, and then that's, the front is for the losers that want to show off, and the back is for the people that get to ride back here and look at this long cool line of riders. They get to look at their friends and watch over them and appreciate. I love it when you get like a windy road and you're in the very back and you can look ahead and see like half the group is going left and the other half is going right because they're working their way through the windiness. It's a nice feeling. So yeah, I guess that's the end of this video. I just wanted to show you guys the group. We're doing a nice little mountain road that's not used very often. Yeah, in the past, whenever I leave the front, the group just guns it. They're all like, oh, okay, we're free. He's not in front. And then I guess they want to show off their skill level because I'm not in the lead, they're in the lead. And I hate it so much because if they all start riding quickly right now, how am I supposed to get back to the very front? If they're riding quickly, that means I gotta like try to like go even quicker on this, bumpy, shitty mountain road. This isn't the kind of road I would go fast on. This is a road I always kind of do casual speeds on. Nice smooth pavement and windy, sure, I'll gun it. But broken up potholes and whatnot, no. Anyways, thanks for supporting me on Patreon. I hope you guys like this video. I'm using the new GoPro, and I've finally fixed it to my helmet. So this is my first time ever using the GoPro on a helmet in my life, probably. I've been using the chest mounts the other times. I didn't have the helmet set up yet, but I do now, and I hope you enjoyed it.